Hey everybody, today's video is sponsored by Keeps. Now, a little known fact, or a well-known fact, just a little discussed, is that 2/3 of men start losing their hair or thinning or balding at the age of 35. But Keeps solves that. What they do is you go online, you send some photos, you answer a couple of questions, takes about 5 minutes, and you all of a sudden have a real doctor certifying that you need some of this. And Keeps will send you one of the two FDA-approved hair loss drugs. They will then prescribe and send it to you. It's that easy. Now today, if you go to keeps.com/SSR, you'll get your first month for free. That's keeps.com/SSR to try it for free, and you don't even have to get off your couch. What's better than that? All right, here we are, Corsa Motors, and today we're gonna find out why Rob hasn't really driven this NSX so much in the last, I don't know, year and a half. Well, the answer is I don't like lending it to people anymore. This is the car that is so easy to drive. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna lend it to people. But every time I lend it to somebody, they do something to make me say, like, why did I lend it to them? And I let somebody actually use it last minute on adventure drives last year, and that guy beat the balls off it. So it came back stinking a clutch. He tried to do a burnout in it. And ultimately, when it got back, the rotors were even warped. So for weeks, this thing stunk of clutch. And then when I finally said, you know what, let me just drive it, I drove it, and the rotors are, and these are my like big brake stop techs. So anyway, so now I get to share with you guys effectively the cheap way to save your rotors versus scrapping them. Now I've got slotted rotors on this car. I had the option between cross-drilled and slotted. Slotted is a little bit more, less bling, more good. And ultimately, I'm going to go get them cut or turned. When you hear somebody say they're turning some rotors, what? Cosmo just did the dick in his mouth face, trying to distract me, but I'm a consummate professional, Cosmo, and that didn't even faze me.
You go what?
Yeah.
James, you got that torque wrench?
So Cosmo's good at interrupting my video, but I'm on this. So essentially, what you do is when you have a drive, just talk. Like, let's pretend like I'm not doing anything. So let's take this. Where do you have a rotor? You have a rotor here?
Yeah, right here.
Let me find a rotor. Let's go show you a rotor. As long as I don't get my hands dirty. Is it cracked into 15 different pieces? I sort of need a steel rotor, not a... Cool.
That's a ceramic rotor.
All right, so this is a ceramic rotor. It looks like it did not... What was it? SLR?
That
No,
was
carbon ceramic.
Lamborghini LP640.
LP640. So one of the popular things about ceramic rotors, and you can actually see the makeup of it here, is that they don't fade or warp. So they don't. So when you step on it real hard, they'll glow, but they won't change their shape, and they last a long time unless you do this to it and crash it. Steel rotors not the same. When they build up heat, they tend to be uneven, and ultimately you'll get an uneven face on the rotor, and then when you step on the brakes, you'll feel that vibration, which is the unevenness. What you do when you turn or cut a rotor is you take a lathe and you essentially take off the level to smooth it back out, and that's what we're going to go do today. Stand by. This thing, I just noticed today that this is cracked. I don't know who did that, but it really annoys me. This is just a wrap. I didn't even know I had a wrap. Like I have a wrap here, but clearly not here. That's right down to the... I think I'm going to take this on adventure drives this year. It's got cold air conditioning. It looks cool. It drives nice. Gets good gas mileage. It's fun to rip through the canyons. It's got the Targa top. Unless I buy something else before then, this is probably my go-to car come July. July, we're going from Vail, Colorado, through Telluride, over to Page, Arizona, which is where like Horseshoe Bend and Lower Antelope Canyon is. Then we're going to go over to Sedona, Sedona to Vegas, Vegas to Yosemite, and Yosemite to Napa. So I'm excited. I think this is like, there is a certain time every day where it's just really nice to take the top off. And so you have the air conditioning and the tinted windows, so you don't have to really worry about getting too hot during the day. But when you get towards that golden hour, that like 4 or 5 o'clock when the sun isn't as strong, you take the top off, you cruise, and it's real nice. There you go.
Wrong size.
Huh.
I used to work on Jap cars.
Yeah, you can't call it a Jap car. That's politically insensitive. There's a bunch of other names you can't call it either. But we'll just leave it a Jap car for now. That's definitely a no-no. You will offend all snowflakes at once.
Ta-da.
There you go, right off.
Easy. Screwdriver.
Awesome. All right. We could take the Ferrari or we could take Jimbo's car. Let's take Jimbo's car. But it's important that you label your rotors. If you don't label your rotors, you stand the chance of putting them on the wrong wheel. And I think these are directional, but Jimbo, can I throw this through your window?
No.
Okay. All right, next day, because you know what? When you go over to an automotive shop and you ask for anything done after 4 o'clock, they really go home at like 4 o'clock in their heads, and they just stay till 5 so they can lock the door. But anyway, we brought it over there. The slotted rotors said, we're not sure we could do it, but they tried. They did it. $15 a rotor. So it was $30 to get my like-new rotors on here. As you can see in the texture, all they did is sort of clean it off and smooth it out. Now I'll get even brake pressure. So when I step on the brake, instead of having any sort of ridges, it's a smooth surface, touching a smooth surface, and we stop much better. Quick, easy fix. The most expensive part of it is the labor from Cosmo telling me it takes him 3 hours to take each rotor on and off. But I'll deal with that separately, you know. But anyway, there you go. A little lesson as to why you don't. I mean, I like to lend my cars out because it's nice, but every time I do, I mean, the guy who warped these brakes also topped the car out. I've never topped the car out. It takes forever. He overheated the thing going up Pikes Peak when I told him, and they tell him, don't do this, and he keeps it at red line the whole time, overheats it, didn't make it to the top of Pikes Peak. I lent it to another guy when we were at Spring Mountain in Las Vegas. He overheated the car on the racetrack. Then, I mean, let's not get into any other times when my NSX was lent to somebody and maybe damaged, but all of these instances, problems that I didn't create that I ended up having to pay to fix. So there's your lesson and a quick fix. This happens on any car. It's easier when you don't have these slots or cross-drilled rotors, but if you have like a normal based rotor like this one over here, they'll cut it and it'll be $15 a rotor, and it'll save you a lot of money when your brakes don't feel right, especially if it's salvageable versus putting new brakes on. There's your tip. See you tomorrow.